Hi and welcome to Best in Tesla. So we continue to hear about how Waymo is a big competitor to Tesla from mainstream media and Wall Street analysts. And we have analysts like Gary Black that thinks Uber will also be a big player in the autonomous future. But I personally think they are overlooking some huge gaps in their analysis of these different technologies. And if we should look at some of the true competitor Tesla's full self-driving system, we have to look over to China. No, not Baidu, because they are still as little as a competitor to Tesla as Waymo is. Avatr technology is probably the closest one to have a business model that looks like Tesla's. But Tesla does still have quite a few advantages that will probably prove to be vital for a global success with autonomous vehicles. So let me show you why Waymo's business model doesn't work, and why Tesla's business model will be dominating, and why only the Chinese seems to be keeping up very nicely, but has some huge hurdles to work through to ever become a global player. So let's check it all out and let's dive right in. So let's start with Waymo and why they don't really stand a chance. Firstly, the cost to make a Robotaxi is too expensive and will be disrupted by Tesla's Cybercab. Even Waymo's next generation RoboVan they will make from the Seeker electric van, well, that costs just under $40,000 in China, so imported to the US with 100% tariff on top of that will end up costing $80,000 for Waymo, not including shipping. And they will put all their own expensive sensors and tech inside the car that cost more than $40,000 according to studies done by ARK Invest. So that will end up costing Waymo something like $120,000 to get that RoboVan on the streets in the US. And remember, the partner Seeker is still not even earning money on selling EVs, so even the supply chain here for Waymo is not profitable on this adventure just yet. But anyway, Tesla has confirmed again that Tesla's Cybercabs will be built using Tesla's unbox production method, which should cut the cost in half for Tesla to build a vehicle. And we know from Tesla's earning reports that their COGS, cost of goods sold, for Tesla is under $35,000 per car as of today. So a car built with the unbox production method should cost Tesla something like $17,500 when fully ramped, of course. But the Cybercab is not a normal car. There are thousands of parts that goes into a normal car that will not be in the Cybercab, as it will not have a steering wheel, pedals, side mirrors, adjustable seat, entire back row, no ventilated seats, a screen in the back, and so much more. So I still believe Tesla will be able to build these Cybercabs for just around $15,000 when fully ramped, of course. But let's just say $20,000, that is still 6 times cheaper than Waymo. Waymo will never be competitive on cost when it comes to Tesla. So Tesla would easily be able to offer rides for, let's say, 50 cents per mile. That will undercut Waymo's business big time. Tesla and Elon has talked about lower prices than this, but just this will undercut Waymo's business big time. If you look at Waymo's price tracker, it is very difficult to find prices as low as $2, but they do exist, but most are between $3 to $4 per mile and some as high as $6 to $8 per mile, as there is also a flat fee and cost per mile and cost per minute. So there is no one price, but I would say it looks like the average is much higher, probably around $3 per mile on average. That is still 6 times more expensive than what Tesla will probably be able to do. And if we say that robotaxis in general will drive like 50,000 miles a year, as a full-time taxi driver in the US does about 40,000 miles per year on 280 days of work. So a robotaxi should be able to do a lot more, but let's just say 50,000 miles. Well, that means that Tesla's Cybercab will be able to make about $25,000 a year. So in its first year of operation, it will have paid itself off and earned about $5,000 to Tesla. And that is at the price of only $0.50 per mile. So if Waymo should be able to compete when Tesla deploys robotaxis, they will have to lower their price about sixfold. But that will mean that Waymo's cars will not break even before after 5 years on the road. But there is, of course, much more to it than just the cost of the car. Tesla will also have their self-cleaning stations where Waymos will have to pay humans to clean their cars. Tesla will have their own charging stations. Waymo will have to pay others for that cost as well. Tesla will be able to put their own huge megapacks at their designated Cybercab charging and cleaning station using their Obliterate software to make sure Tesla Cybercabs are charging with the lowest possible price per kilowatt hour. Waymo does not have all of this. Waymo's cost of operation will also be much higher than Tesla, and that is also why even after 7 years with robotaxis on the street, Waymo is still not earning money. So how can anyone think that this will be competitive to a Cybercab when this company that is already bleeding money will be forced to maybe lower their price per mile by sixfold? It's beyond my understanding. And Tesla has other revenue streams that Waymo will never be able to get. As we have heard, Tesla is in talks with other OEMs for licensing their software to other automakers. So Tesla will earn money on that as well, something Waymo can never do, because who will want a car that can only drive itself in downtown San Francisco? But if you want to go to the Redwoods or down to LA or anywhere else outside downtown San Francisco, it can't. You will not be able to drive on the highway from LA to San Francisco with Waymo software in your car. Waymo software is not made for anything else but a robotaxi in a geofenced area. But Tesla will also start earning money on full self-driving software in their normal cars that many people will definitely start to buy when it becomes unsupervised this year, earning Tesla even more money on their full self-driving software. And Tesla will also sell more cars as the demand will definitely go up if this software becomes available. So earning Tesla even more money on just selling cars, and Waymo doesn't sell any cars. So Tesla could lower their price per mile even more if they wanted to. But they probably don't have to, because even like $1 per mile will disrupt Waymo. So Waymo has no chance, in my opinion. They will die when Tesla have thousands of Cybercabs running in the streets. But then we also hear Gary Black saying that Uber will survive and Tesla might have to partner up with Uber. Well, I would say there might be a chance for a partnership of some kind, but it will because Uber needs Tesla, because Tesla will not need Uber. Because it will not even take much time for someone like Tesla to do more miles in their Cybercabs than Uber does today. Uber does about 40 billion miles per year in rideshare operation, and that might sound a lot, but as I said, if a Tesla Cybercab does like 50,000 miles a year, it will only take around 800,000 Cybercabs to do the same amount of mileage as Uber does today. And Tesla is aiming for at least 2 million Cybercabs to begin with in production every year when ramped up, and probably much more going forward in other countries as well. So Uber's scale is not actually that big compared to what Tesla would be able to do on their own pretty fast. And remember, Tesla also have a lot of Teslas in their fleet that might want to take their Tesla on the robotaxi fleet, like an Airbnb service kind of thing, as Elon has talked about before. So Tesla could pretty fast get to that scale of 800,000 cars doing on average 50,000 miles a year when calculating in all the mileage done by the fleet of normal cars on their network as well. So Uber's model they have today will be disrupted as well, because if you have a human driver, you will never be able to compete, as Tesla will be able to offer a lower price than Uber then. But the only thing Uber can do is to get robotaxis in their fleet. And they are partnering up with Waymo, but as I have just walked through, Waymo will not be able to compete. So adding another company on top of it like Uber will not make this more cost effective and not be competitive on price with Tesla. So in my view, the only way Uber will be able to survive will be by buying Tesla's Cybercabs and putting them on their network. But that will of course not make them competitive with Tesla on price, as Waymo will have to pay Tesla for the cars, maybe $30,000, and then a monthly subscription for the software, where it will cost only Tesla $15,000, maybe $20,000 to put the Cybercabs on the street, and no monthly subscription. So Uber can buy Tesla Cybercabs like everyone else, but they will not be competitive as Tesla is dictating the price as they do in EVs. Why does Ford lose $40,000 on every EV they sell? Because they can't sell them for $100,000 as they would need to, because Tesla sells similar EVs profitable for $45,000 to $50,000. And the same thing will happen with Uber if they buy Tesla Cybercabs. They will have a similar product, but their cost of operations will be a bit more expensive, as they probably want to use Tesla's self-cleaning charging station, where Tesla will also earn money on the cleaning and the charging for Uber as well. So I can only see Uber surviving this if they partner with Tesla, but Tesla don't need to partner with Uber, so we will see how it goes. So it all comes down to cost and experience for me. So sure, Waymo or Uber could have similar service, a Robotaxi, but Tesla will have world-class entertainment in their cars as well. So Tesla's Cybercab will also be a much more nicer experience than what Waymo offer. Definitely better than what Uber offer today, where people today have to get into another man's car with a human inside. So the experience is going to be much better and the price much cheaper with a Tesla Cybercab. It will be hard to beat unless you partner up with Tesla. But what about the Chinese? Yes, in China there will probably be real competition for Tesla. But I doubt they will come to the US anytime soon, because Baidu, China's Google, also has robotaxis driving in China, but they use the same kind of technology as Waymo, geofence pre-mapped areas. So just like their system, it is not made to be in a normal car. It will only be in a robotaxi system. And just like Waymo, it is simply too costly and complicated to scale up quickly. It is less costly in China, so maybe they will stick around with some city taxi service, but they will not be able to compete because of the same reasons we have just discussed with Waymo. But if we should look at another player in the game that is doing very well, we should look at Huawei's Qualcomm Autonomous Driving System 3.2 that Out of Specs Review also just did a video about. It is a really capable system that drove them around the city for an hour, because that system is something that can go into a normal car. And it already is, as we could see in this video where they were driving around in the Avatr 1.1. So this system is more comparable to what Tesla has. The Avatr 1.1 is made by Avatr Technology, a company formed through a partnership between Changuan Automobile, CATL and Huawei. Changuan is one of the big four state-owned car manufacturers in China and has been making cars for over 65 years. In 2022, they made just over 2 million vehicles. So they are no little startup and knows how to build cars. And CATL, of course, brings in the best and most popular batteries on the market. And Huawei, of course, brings in AI and computing infrastructure to the partnership. So this is a very strong player in the game of making full self-driving cars. And as Tesla doesn't offer full self-driving in China, Tesla is not seen as this high-tech car company as they are in the US. But Tesla is of course working on getting full self-driving to China this year, just waiting government approval. So that should get Tesla up pretty close to Avatar's capabilities. But they are definitely the leaders in China with tech that is not just for robotaxis, but for normal cars as well. So definitely one to keep an eye on. But where Tesla has an advantage compared to someone like Avatr Technology is that Huawei's Autonomous Driving System 3.2 is very, very new, so there's not a lot of cars with this technology just yet. As of February 2025, about 30,000 Avatr's 1.1 units have been sold since its launch in August 2022. So not a lot of units. They do have this tech in other cars like BYD's Leopard 8 SUV and other models in other car brands, but not high volume models just yet. So they are not getting the same kind of data collection as Tesla does. So Tesla has an edge there. And I don't think we know just how much compute power someone like Waymo has, but we do know about their Atlas 900 AI cluster that in theory should have more compute power than Tesla's Cortex. But the Atlas 900 AI cluster is of course used for many different tasks for Huawei and not just for full self-driving, where Tesla's supercomputer's only purpose is to train a neural network to drive through video input. So I would still think Tesla has an edge here as well. And that of course leads us to the biggest edge for Tesla, and that is the sheer size of data they are collecting that their supercomputer can go through. So their system should learn much faster than Avatar's. So my money would still be on Tesla solving a general solution first. And I do think that China will allow Tesla to use their full self-driving system in China, but I'm not sure Europe, or definitely not the US, is going to just allow Chinese systems being used in their countries. As we already know, Huawei phones are banned in the US, so don't think the US government is going to allow their autonomous cars to come to the country if they don't even allow their phones to come to the country. Huawei phones are not banned for sales in the EU in the same manner as in the US, but the company faced significant operation challenge due to their 5G network bans and the absence of Google service on their newer models. So I don't think it will be just a straightforward path for autonomous cars with Waymo technology inside them to come outside China. So here Tesla does have another edge once again, and why I still believe Tesla will win this race for autonomy. But I don't think someone like Baidu or Waymo will survive, as they only have a Robotaxi model. They will never be used in traditional cars, and therefore they will always lack the data collection, as it will take someone like Waymo about $840 billion just to get to the vehicle fleet size that Tesla has today collecting data. It is just not realistic, and they will never be able to drive you everywhere, which will soon be shown to be a failure when other robotaxis like the much cheaper and affordable and better Cybercab starts hitting the streets. So if people have to choose, do I have to look at the Waymo app and see if the car can actually go where I want to go, or do I just order a Tesla because I know it can go everywhere and is a much better service? There is, in my opinion, no chance that Waymo will survive this, as the disruption to their business model is simply too big. The only way I see someone like Uber surviving in the US is if they simply buy Tesla Cybercabs, because Tesla doesn't need Uber's platform, but Uber will need someone like Tesla's platform. And as Tesla has just said, the ramp is going to be slow to make sure everything is working correctly. So they don't need Uber's big customer base. They will slowly just grow their own, as so many people already have the Tesla app because of the millions of people that already own Teslas today, but also because of all the many non-Tesla EV owners that are also using Tesla's charging network in the US. They too have Tesla's app and a Tesla account already set up. So Tesla already have a big user base set up and ready to go for the launch of the ride-hailing app within Tesla's own app very soon. So I don't think Waymo has a chance. I think Uber will have to pivot very fast to stay alive, as the business model where rides cost $3 or more per mile will no longer make sense when Tesla has a volume production of Cybercabs. But we have not even talked about legacy automakers. Well, they will not be able to use Huawei system in the US, and Waymo system will not work either for a normal car, so they can either hurry up and make a deal with Tesla or die off completely, as a car without autonomous driving will be a thing of the past very soon. Why would anybody look at those cars in 5 years' time if they can't even drive themselves? The old guys will crumble as the demand for their old dinosaurs will fall off a cliff. That includes their EVs, if they're not autonomous. And they already have an inventory problem in the US, so this will just accelerate their downfall even faster. They are not even in this game. They tried, but they all failed. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.